Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to calculate a combined GPA for different classes or different colleges. So in the first part I'm going to show you how to combine the GPA from multiple schools into one GPA properly with the right weights. In the second part I'm going to show you how to calculate your GPA for the application that is your GPA in your major or your STEM GPA if you are a STEM major. And in the third part, I'm going to just very briefly show you how to maybe use Excel instead of a calculator to do the calculations. I'm not going to do any fancy programming in Excel, just a basic thing. So let's get started. In the first example, we're going to look at your GPA if you've attended the following three schools: Fullerton College, Mount SAC, and IVC. And you've taken 37 units at Fullerton College, and your transcript says that your GPA is 3.84. And for Mount SAC, you've taken 12 units, and your GPA is 2.43. And IVC, you've taken 5 units, and your GPA is 3.1. So what you cannot do is just add these numbers, right? You cannot just add these numbers together and divide them by 3, because that would mean that this 2.4 would count the same as the 3.8, but the 2.4 is on much less units, right? So it doesn't count that much. So the way you do that is you're going to take the number of units you've taken, so 37, and you're going to multiply it by the GPA from that school. And then you're going to do the same thing for the other schools. So 12 units at Mount SAC times that GPA 2.43, and 5 units at IVC times 3.1 GPA there. And after you've multiplied those numbers, you're just going to add them up and then take that sum and divide it by the total number of units you've taken. So you take all the units and you just add them up. So if I punch that into my calculator, the 37 times 3.84 gives me 142.08. 12 times 2.43 is 29.16. And then 5 times 3.1 is 15.5. And if I add those units all up, I get 54 units that you've taken total. So then you add the numbers on the top, 186.74 divided by 54, and you get your answer of your total GPA is 3.46. This is the college or total college GPA. Okay? So the key is to multiply each number by each GPA by the number of units that counts for that GPA. So that is part 1, your total college GPA. You just take all the schools you've attended and you multiply the number of units by the GPA for each school, and then you add that up and divide it by the total number of units you've taken. Okay. Now for the second part, to calculate the GPA in your major, what you need to do is you need to go to the college catalog, so the Fullerton College catalog. So we're going to go to the FC catalog on the website. You just go to the main website. It's pretty easy to get there, right where the schedule is. And then you're going to look at degrees and certificates. So you're going to look for the degree you have that you want to get. So if you're, for example, an engineering major, it says to get the associate degree in engineering, or this would count if you're doing a certificate. You just look at the certificate. That's then your major. And then you look at all the units that are listed for that major. So for engineering, it's all the engineering classes, but it is also all the calculus classes, the math class, the physics classes, and some chemistry classes. So let's say you have taken Calculus 1, Calculus 2, you've taken Physics 1, Chem 111A, and maybe you've taken Intro to Engineering, right? So those are the classes that you have so far taken for your major. In order to graduate, you're going to have to take a few more classes, but that's what you currently have. So if these are the classes you have, you can look at the units for each of the classes, and it should also say on your transcript. So I just wrote down an example of what somebody might have. So you've taken Calculus 1, 4 units, got an A. Calculus 2, 4 units, got a B. Chem 111A, 5 units. That was hard, got a C. Physics 221, you're doing better again. You got an A for 4 units, and Engineering 110, 3 units. So to calculate your major GPA, what you would do is you're going to take each class and take the number of units and multiply it by the value for the grade. So an A is 4.0, a B is 3.0, a C is 2.0, and a D would be 1.0, and an F would be a 0, so it doesn't count. But it does count for the number of units you've taken. So for D, it was 1.0. Okay, so the first thing you're going to have to do is you're going to multiply the number of units times the GPA points for that grade. So an A is 4.0, so 4 times 4.0, so it's 16. Then for Calculus 2, again, you have 4 units, but you got a B, so you multiply it by 3.0, you get 12. Chem 111A, you have 5 units. That C counts for 2.0, so that's 10. And then the 4 units for the physics class would count for 4.0, give you 16 points. And then the 3 units in the intro class at a B, which is 3.0, would count for 9 points. So these are the points. Then what you have to calculate is the total number of units. Total number of units. And you just add them up. So if I add that up, I get 20 units. And then you're going to calculate the total points. So if I add that up, I get 63. So for your major GPA, or in this case, this may be your STEM GPA, what you're going to do is the number of total points divided by total units. So in this case, 63 divided by 20, and that comes out to 3.15. And that would be your major GPA. And you can do that with as many classes as you have in your major. So again, to know what classes count for your major, you go to the catalog under degrees and certificate, and you look at your major, and it will list what classes count for that major. And any class you've taken on that list, you add them up. For the third part, I'm just going to show you quickly how to do this in Excel. And in Excel, all it does is you just add up the numbers instead of with a calculator. But the nice thing is you can make a spreadsheet and you can keep adding classes, and then you don't have to redo all the calculations. The spreadsheet just does it for you. So in this case, to calculate your school GPA, I just put in the numbers, number of units, GPAs. So what you want is the total number of units. So what I'm going to have to do is add these 3 numbers up. So what I'm going to do is in Excel, when you want to do a calculation, you put an equal sign, and then you give it the command to do something. So in this case, I'm going to do the sum and open some parentheses and then say the sum of which numbers, right? It says number 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to go from number 1 through all the way here. So if I click on the cells in Excel, it will go all the way from the first cell to the last cell. So that was the total number of units you've taken, 54. Now, the points, I'll have to do that a little more complicated because I have to do, actually I'm going to put that in here. So again, I first have to multiply the units by the number. So I'm going to multiply the 37 by the 3.8. So again, I can do that by letting Excel do the calculation. So I'm going to set equal for formula, and then I'm going to do 37. So click on that cell, and multiply is a star, and then I'm going to click on the other cell. So that 142, that was the number we used our calculator to calculate. And then I'm going to do, and then I don't have to do that again because in Excel, if I want to do the same formula for the next row, all I have to do is, see how in the corner here there's a tiny little square? If I move my mouse on that square and then scroll down, it does the same calculation, but it changes the row number. So here it was B2 times C2, here B3 times 3 C3, and then B4 times C4 for the fourth row. And then all I want to do is add those up. So again, I'm going to say equals the sum of all the way from the first cell to the last cell, close the parentheses, adds them up. And then for the overall GPA, all I have to do is, I'm going to equal, because I'm going to calculate something, the points divided by the units. So I'm going to put the points, dividing is a /, and then by the units, that. So now if I change, like if next semester I want to calculate that again, but I have now taken 40 units at F. Fullerton College, and my GPA has changed to 3.85 maybe, then it just does the calculation again, right? Or maybe I took 10 more units at IVC and my GPA changed to 3.5. So now I get a new calculation. I don't have to redo anything. And I can do the same thing for selected classes. So here again, I've put in the scores already. Now I can program Excel to recognize the A and know that if there's an A here, then to give me 4.0 points, and for B to give me 3.0 points, but that's a little bit above this video. So I just said equals to B2 times 4, and that 4 I put in manually for the A. So here I got to put in equals. I'm going to change this cell, and then I'm going to say times 3.0. And I'm going to do the same thing for each of the cells. So that cell for C, I'm going to put 2.0. And then I keep doing that. So equals that one times 4.0 for an A, and equals that one times 3.0 for a B. And then again, I can calculate the totals by just doing the sum. So equals sum of, and I'm going to go from here all the way to here, right? Top cell to bottom cell. And I can do the same thing here. So equals the sum from the top cell to the bottom cell, okay? And then to calculate the GPA, all I'm going to do is divide the number of points divided by the number of units. So the nice thing about this one is that if I wanted to just add another class, so let's say I've taken another class, so I can insert a row, and I can say, let's say I've taken Engineering 201, and that is also 3 units, and I got an A, so that would be the 3 units times the 4.0, and it will just change my GPA for the calculation. I don't need to do anything new for the summary of that. Okay, so I hope this is helpful. Good luck with the application.